What's up, everyone? Welcome aboard. Andi Petrillo, Jordan Wilson, Trills and Wills, and we have a special guest in between us. If you're listening, he's right in the middle. Visualize it. Mr. Kristian Jack. What's up, KJ?
I don't have as a cooler nickname as you two.
You know, I was trying to think of a couple, and I was like, I kept going to Jack and Jill, Kristian Jack and Jill, and that's a lot. Trills, Wills, Jack and Jill. But
you know, my parents, when I was younger, used to say, we gave you a really nice name and no one calls it you, because I was called Jack at school the entire time.
Oh.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
I like it.
So, yeah, Jack. That was my name at school. Everyone called me
KJ's your
Jack.
nickname, though.
Yeah, that was Sharman's fault.
Do you want us to call you
Is
Jack?
that James Sharman? He
Sharman,
got lazy.
Derek Snyder,
Yeah.
KJ Choi was the golfer. It came from that. Like, there's lots of stuff like that.
Wow.
Yeah. Look, I don't think you can pick your nickname, though.
No, you can't.
So I'm not here to pick it. So anyone can call me. To be honest, people call me way worse than any nickname. So I'll just take KJ.
Do you want to be called Jack? Because I'll call you Jack, no problem.
Call me whatever you want, mate.
Jack Daniels it is. Got
Whatever
it.
you want.
Oh, Jack. See, I can't say Jack because then I just want to say another word afterwards, which
That's
I
the
don't think
thing.
is very appropriate. That's where my mind goes.
Some people might think it's very appropriate.
Yeah, but not at all. Because you have taken the time here to join
Yeah,
us.
for
We're really
sure.
excited. The Canadian Premier League, the 2023 season is around the corner, 5th season. Very excited about this. And we're going to take a look at the teams. We're going to take a look at some storylines here, who you guys think are the top teams, who you think are some top players to keep an eye on. I may or may not already have a hot seat segment going into this of people who may already be in trouble or who I'm just keeping an eye on. I'm going to ease into this one. I'm not going to be so harsh right out of the gate, Jordan. No. Can't be harsh for the season starts.
We'll
It's gonna be gentle.
We'll see how the last 5 minutes of the show goes. All right, you're gonna start sweet, but we know Andi is so sweet, but she also has that spice.
If Jack gets me going over here,
Oh,
Yes.
then it is trouble for everyone. All right, I'm curious, KJ, are you on the bandwagon with everyone else who has Forge as number 1?
Yeah, I think they start as the overwhelming favorites. Yeah, only because you have to evaluate what you saw last year with these teams, and they're the easiest to do it because when you compile all the evidence, they've got 19 returnees, so it's over 82%, which is an amazing return in the CPL. Anyway, in a league where obviously we're developing players, and then to bring back the players, some of them like Schwanya, who have chosen to return as well, where they've got borderline chances to go elsewhere as well. And I know David had a number of different opportunities to go, and he chose to come back to Forge. So look, they're the champs. I know they didn't win the regular season, and we'll get into that in a minute, but they're the champs. They've got the returnees. I think they took another level last year, even though they had lots of changes at centre-back. They scored a lot more goals in the box, more goals than anybody else. So there's a lot to like about the team. And so, yeah, I think people are all looking up at them.
just jumping in quick as well. Like they brought everyone back. Krutzen's out, who's arguably one of the better players in the league, center back when he's healthy. But Mandrakar James coming in as well.
Right.
Forge, they annoy me. I'm not gonna lie. I have to put on my analyst hat, but it's just they keep the core together, and it's a league that brings in so many new players. The CPL, naturally, your good players move on. They have a way of keeping them. Ruben Pasillas, this guy should be gone. He's still playing for Forge and pushing on for another season. Jordan Hamilton, they have big names. Terran Campbell. These are guys that if you're going to other leagues, they'd be playing, but also in the CPL, any team would take them.
Right.
So Forge is just that unit, that army, and it's hard not to put them at number 1.
All right, it seems to pretty much be a consensus here. They may or may not make an appearance a little bit on my hot seat. True or false here, KJ? Halifax Wanderers are the most intriguing of last year's non-playoff teams. Ollie's not here. Oliver Platt steers the Halifax ship. He just loves them
Now he's
so
steering
much.
our ship.
Now he's steering our ship. But he is backing this team up. Every year he goes in, and they are his dark horse, the underdog, somebody that can do something. Where are you with Halifax?
Yeah, I think the necessary changes have taken place. We talk about Forge and all the continuity. This is the opposite, right? This is the beginning of something now that Patrice is building. I think we had 15 or 16 players who were there last year who are no longer there. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of turnover. So it's going to take some time. I'd love Jordan's take on Patrice because you probably know him a lot better than me. But what I know about him is that the only way that they know how to play is attacking football. And, whatever you say about Halifax and their success that they had, obviously, a couple of years ago getting to the final, it hasn't been attacking. Even when they had Jao Morelli, who became player of the year, they just didn't score goals.
Goals have been a problem.
Goals have been a major problem for them. I think 40 in the 56 games last 2 seasons, 1 goal or less. You're not going to win many games doing that.
Yeah.
So, I think that fan base, I think this is a crucial year for them because they understand that they've got the best fan base in the Canadian Premier League, the most loyal fan base, and you don't want them to turn the back on it based on the last couple of years. This is that moment where the honeymoon period is a little bit gone now.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, come on, please, we need to keep you sweet. We need to keep you here.
For sure.
We'll keep the love. And so this is the time to entertain. And I think, some of these players coming in, there's a lot of excitement about them.
Absolutely. And I think something I want to talk about is the fact that if you talk to top League One Ontario players, they feel as if they should be playing in the CPL.
Right.
So guys like Massimo Ferrin, Kosi, Norfonso, these guys that played for Vaughan were banging in a lot of goals. I'll say for Norfonso, he had 19 goals and 13 appearances for Vaughan. And Massimo, he was the talk of the town last year with 23 goals and 15. These guys are coming into the CPL with a chip on their shoulder. Like, we haven't really heard of them outside of League One, but they're coming in saying, hey, all these guys that are getting to pay and play full-time, we're better than, or we're just as good as. So Patrice, he could have done a lot with the budget he was given or the new team. He could have bought big dogs to come in. And he said, hey, I'm going to trust the guys that were doing it for me in League One, which I respect. Now, are you going to go and bust net and score goals in the CPL? Are you going to have that chip on your shoulder and really show that what you can do? So it's beautiful. When I look at this Halifax side, even Ryan James, I played with his brother Evan James growing up. He played. He had a lot of stint in the USL. Was drafted. There's a lot of key pieces. I know Aiden Daniels has a huge part to play with this team as well this season. But there are a lot of names we could say. Rampersad, of course, who has just been a legend in the league and has just runs the midfield. But these guys, all these pieces have to come together, and that's a beautiful part. We'll see what Patrice can do with them.
Yeah, the reality of what can these League One players do when they enter the Canadian Premier League, that's yet to be seen. But I already love that type of attitude that you're talking about, because this is the type of footballing environment we're trying to create in this country, that when you have the Canadian Premier League, suddenly players in League One, the semi-professional league, have something that is a legitimate next step. And then they start to get hungry for it, and they start to believe that they can do it. And then obviously the guys in the Canadian Premier League look at other steps, whether it's going to Europe. We've already seen a ton of players doing that, second, third, whatever division it is, but making another leap, whether it's going to Major League Soccer. Don't you love when you hear that attitude exists within League One players?
Absolutely. I think, too, my experience coming into the CPL, you see a lot of foreigners that might come in, and some contribute to the league, but maybe you're doing a season and you leave. Then you're just inclined to think, well, what if you took a gamble on a 20-whatever-year-old in League One, or just that is here in your own backyard? I know for me, my time at York as well, I always have expectations when I was there, just because you're in the hub. There's so many little sister clubs, brother clubs that are so close that you could pull from. So I understand maybe a club like Valor that's a bit further, it's kind of in Winnipeg, you might have to have players to come in. Yeah. But when you're in a hub like a York or even Forge, they kind of get the best in the area, and then they add the missing pieces. But I like what Patrice has done with Halifax. It's like the talent that's around, the big names that have been young playing semi-pro amateur football, he's brought in. Now the question is, can we get all those pieces working together and fighting for the squad?
It's going to take some time, I think, but they've had a great preseason already, obviously been down in Florida. It's two things, right? It's the football pyramid that exists all around the world. It's like, doesn't matter where you're playing, you can always feel like you can get to the next one. And in Canada, for far too long, we didn't have that pyramid. It just didn't. It was either like low-end amateur hour or it was MLS. Like, how do you bridge that gap? And this is now we have that gap, right, to get those opportunities. And the other thing, to Jordan's point, is that I think some clubs, what gets neglected a lot of time is making players comfortable. And it's one thing in this analytical world to go, okay, this player does this, he does this for me, I'm just going to plump and put him in. Yeah. But if the player's not comfortable in that country or can't speak the language, doesn't have a friend in the dressing room or anything like that, suddenly you've got Patrice who's taking these three characters, Ferrazzo in there as well, and the two that Jordan mentioned, and knows already he can bring them, they're comfortable, Patrice knows them in the dressing room, and they start building those kind of relationships. Canadians in Canada, it's just the way it needs to be.
Yeah, and then can those new pieces and then the old pieces, like the Rampersads, 89, the guys that have been there before, can they come together and mesh? And yeah, I totally agree with you, KJ.
See, it doesn't matter what age you are. It doesn't matter if you're a pro athlete. You just want to be with your friends.
Yeah, it's true.
I just want to have a good time with my friends.
My friends with me. I'm just going to play better if I have my friends.
That's true.
It's my friends right over there. I don't know if anyone, let's see, when it comes to being friendly and fighting for a playoff spot, we know that there's the new format right now. So an extra team can make it. There's that 5th place team. So it becomes a little bit like a wild card game, right? So the 4th and 5th place teams will play each other to then leap into a Final Four and off you go. So do you think with this new system that at least the top 4 teams from last year, so remember Atletico Ottawa, the first ever to lift the regular season trophy, which is very exciting that got introduced. You had Forge finish behind them, Cavalry and Pacific, I believe it was in that order. Do those 4 still make it?
I think the 3 at the top do. I just say Pacific. I think we have a right to ask them questions. And the reason why, by the way, those 4 that you mentioned, Andy. No, I like it. Let's play them more.
So I don't mean to cut you out, but you know how many times that got people in trouble in school and just ooh all the time. Yeah, no.
I love it. I love it.
KJ's like, why?
No, it's fine.
Here?
No, it's great. The 4 teams that you mentioned were significantly better than the other 4. No, like there was a big gap there. I know Valor had that run, and you guys with York, but at the end of the day, when it all came out in the wash, as I like to say, and the final table was there, it was like, oh, that's a significant gap.
sure.
So we know that they've got a great head start, even though there's been some changes. The one thing about Pacific is that last year I thought they were very streaky. And, they'd go on a great run to start, then they'd go 8 games without a win, and then Diaz come back and he's firing, and they go on a great run, and then they go again. And I know they didn't get Manny Aparicio on the field as much as, he played 51% of the minutes. If he plays 100, then yeah, it's a slam dunk that they're in the playoffs. He's that good. But it depends, right? Because they've lost Bustos, right? They've lost, they've lost to Santos, who's gone to Ottawa. Diaz wasn't replaced last year. Now they've got Easton Ongaro, which is a big-time replacement in the CPL. But again, it's the adjustment. Callum Irvin was a big player for them. Big leader in goal. Yeah. And now they've gone a little bit younger in goal. So question marks are there. I do think they've got the talent, and they should definitely be the top 4 to answer your question. But I think if I'm York, I'm Halifax, I'm Valor, I'm looking at that Vancouver, I'm looking at going, maybe we can get at them.
It's all about the balance, right? I talk about all the time balance in the midfield, but it's also balance in a team. It's having those leaders, but having young guys trying to break through as well. Just having that equilibrium, having it right where it should be. But losing a Dixon, maybe for him, like, I know he was injured a little bit, but it's just the presence that you bring and having all. You can't replace that, right? And you have a leader, and then Eduardo Diaz, for me, we'll get into it a bit later, but top striker in the league. Like, since I've been here, top striker. His movement, incredible. And then you have Callum Irving in goal, and then Marcos Bustos, he would always provide sometimes a little spark that you might need. Now there are other people that need to fill that role, and just what does that look like? Like, who are the leaders? Because Manny Aparicio before could just do what he wanted to do. But now you're going to have to do a leadership role. Can you do that as well as perform? I believe he can, but those are just question marks that you have to show and prove. So Pacific is a question mark, but I do believe Forge, Calgary, and Atletico Ottawa, I feel like are shoo-ins to be in the playoffs.
I agree.
Yeah, Pacific after winning, just getting poached, right? Whether it was losing a lot of the players to Major League Soccer, which was nice to see guys make the leap, and McNaughton and Caden Chung, and now again, just this massive turnover. Can they get back there? Because that was such an incredible year where they defeated Vancouver, Canadian Championship, everything was so exciting. They go on, they lift the trophy, they interrupt Forge's perfect streak there of winning the North Star Shield. Can they get back there with so much changeover? Another little tease. Easton Ongaro might show up in my hot seat. You're like, he just came back, Petrillo. What are you doing? Put him on the hot seat. I will have an explanation for you.
Told you she's spicy.
I like that.
So let's wrap up kind of this overview as we take a look at the new players coming into the league, KJ. One that excites you the most that you're looking forward to watching?
Wow, one. There's a
just
few.
one.
Just one.
So don't say mine.
I'm going to go with one then, and I'm going to pretty much guarantee that it's not yours.
Okay.
All right? I'm going to take Gabriel Antonoro from Ottawa.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, say more than that. Though.
Okay.
Say 3.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I like Antonoro because I think he's going to play a lot because he's a young Canadian player. I had a great chat with him this offseason. He came from Brazil, came to Montreal when he was 12, got a great head on his shoulders, an attacking young player. Spoke a lot of people in Montreal about him as an academy player, and I think he's going to have to play a lot. And I think as Ottawa can go from that defensive team that needs to start to open up teams again and start to get better at home, I think they're going to need X factors like that in the final third. Someone like Jesse Daly, who came to Calgary from the A-League, played a ton of minutes. And I think Cavalry need that link as well to start opening teams up. They're great at home, but try and ignite their attack and make them a little bit different. He's someone else as well. I mean, Caligari, who played in PSG, Halifax, like he played under Unai Emery and played with Mbappe. Like, player comes to the CPL, it's going to get your attention. So there's three. I don't know if you did. I didn't say your name, did I?
No, you didn't say my name, but I just want to say something. Are you sure you're just an analyst? Because this was a lot of managerial talk that you were saying.
He's a scout.
He's something. KJ's a man of many talents.
I don't know about that. I'd love to hear yours.
I honestly just have one. Well, I have more, but one that is like tried and true. Walter Gael Sandoval.
Yes.
To Vancouver FC. Because look, brother, if you have Liga MX games to your name, the last player who had that was World Diaz, and that was for me one of the top strikers in the league. And I'm talking about movement in and out, being clever. He'd be off. World Diaz would be offside for about 10 seconds and then come onside properly. I always judge players like that. Mason does that as well for Calgary. Just clever, right? Runs when they need to. Doesn't do all this little running. Very smart. So I just want to see, because it's a new side, they're gonna need someone to kind of carry that weight. See if you can create assists, get things going for them offensively, and it's a new little team that they got going on there. So he needs to be a big dog for the squad.
Incredible resume.
All right, getting very excited as these new players enter the league. So why don't we take a look at just 5 here, Jordan? Why don't you give us your top 5 player rankings heading into the 2023 CPL season?
Ooh, I love it.
So I just want to clarify. I could say a lot of players.
Of course you could.
But I
There
want
are
to
a lot
say
of players
the
in the league.
This is where he doesn't want to upset his friends.
No.
This is it.
Look at that. I see
What
you
he's
gotta do it.
doing.
Just wants to do with his friends.
Why can't we be friends?
Why can't we be
It's all coming together.
It's a kumbaya movement.
This is why his buddies. He's already got it now. His buddies don't need to call him now because he's got it. He's got.
Nah, hey, this top 5 is against the players that I've played against that are coming back. So, like, for example, Rare Diaz would be on this list. Abzi would be on this list, but these guys have moved on. So we don't care about them like that. This is the CPL time, okay?
All right, go number 5
Number
and
5.
work your way down, my friend.
Ollie Bassett, Atletico Ottawa. Was player of the year. Was player of the year last year. Clever technician. And what I like about Ollie is he sees 2 passes ahead. He's very clever. But I think he's so important for the Atletico Ottawa side. Balou Tabla is the only name I can give for last season that was as meaningful as he was. And I know that the finals last year, where that was probably a match he would want to replay. He's hungry. He's hungry. He had his little trial at Liga MX as well. He's ready to go and have a season. So for me, he's number 5.
Number 4.
Number 4, Amir Didic. For me, is the most complete center back coming into the season. Man, 6'4", his legs are like twice the size of mine. He's big, he's strong, he's good in the air. I remember one game where he threw me. He also threw Dom Zatora for a header. Dom's not a small guy. He's very strong, but also his passes going forward, superb. Number 3, he's only number 3. He could have been number 2 if he played more, but Manny Aparicio. Busybody. He's kind of unconventional, all over the place, gets things going out of nothing. He's just a spark in the midfield and just a nightmare to defend. As a defender, you're just like, you think everything's in control, and then Manny gets the ball, and he makes a darting run. You got to track him. Dangerous guy. Number 2, Kyle Beckert.
Okay.
Seasoned vet.
Yeah.
Intellectual. The catalyst for Forge. Like, I'm not saying this. There's no friends in this. I've joined you guys. You guys are my friends. But I'm putting Kyle there because if you watch his movement, if you watch how he plays, if you watch how he's always a step ahead, that stuff is what makes you win championships. And he does it, and he frees up guys like Borges, and he frees up things for his club and his side. So that's why he's number 2.
Wait.
Little drum roll. Oh, I like this.
I think I know where it's going.
If you know me, you know who number 1 is. This is not me being biased. I've said this from day one. We sat over there on the couch, and I said this, and people are like, really?
Before he was a teammate.
Exactly. Mo Babuli. Okay? Look, Let me talk about Mo.
Okay.
Guaranteed product. If Mo Babuli played for any of the 8 teams in the CPL, he would still get goals, assists. He would make things happen, expected goals, whatever category you want. If you give him the ball, he will produce. Now, the question is, I know last year, as soon as he came, I said, man, I have someone to pass to that's going to create. And we had a little bit of a Noah Verhoeven, shout out to my boy, but we had Noah next to me behind, and Mo, and it was working. If Mo could get that type of service, or basically people saying, here, have the ball, York are in a very good spot this season.
One of my favorite stats, and you guys know I run them a lot and write them in my notebook. Last year, York tied for first in the league with 11 points gained from losing positions. Only one before they signed Babuli. And then the moment they signed Babuli, they got 10 points from losing positions. He transformed the team. Even when they weren't winning the games, they came back into games because they had Babuli on the pitch. Without Babuli, as soon as, basically, for 2/3 of the season, if they went behind, they weren't winning the match. As soon as he came back, it was a completely different team.
Martin Nash, Mara Stacchio, they would yell at me, play him. I'm like, well, I see 2 guys around him. I don't know if he's open. Play him. Just throw it in the pocket. Play it to him. So, all right. And honestly, he'll lose the ball sometimes, but more often than not, you're getting product from him. And he's just a absolute gem of a player.
Excited. Love it. Love the player rankings. I want to take a look at a new team now, KJ, and that, of course, is Vancouver. Do you think Vancouver FC, entering the season for the first time, can do what St. Louis is doing in Major League Soccer? Can they be competitive?
I think they can be competitive, yes. I like the way that they've gone about it. I think they've done some really astute signings. You mentioned Sandoval. I like the fact that they've got leaders in there. Caden coming back. Caden Chung is a big player. You need players who you just know that can basically, you can write out every week and go, yeah, if he's fit, he can play every minute of the season for me. And that's what Caden Chung does. That's what Callum Irvin does. That players right away that I think, yes, they right away. So do I think they can be competitive? I do. I really do. I love the fact that they play Pacific away first game. That's so exciting, to be able to go across and do the travel all themselves, go there, go to Pacific. What's everyone going to be talking about? Their first ever match. What's everyone going to be expecting? Pacific to win. They're going to have their back against the wall. They're going to go out there and try and shock them. So I think they can be competitive. Do I think they're going to be a shoo-in? No, I don't. I think it's going to be, in some parts, it's going to be a tough year for them. Mm-hmm. But the great thing is that 5th playoff spot is a carrot dangling for them that they can go for. And I think they'll look at these teams and they'll go, can we beat 3 of these teams over 28 games? Yeah, I think we can.
I know. Love to see it. Listen, we know Atletico Ottawa was a little unfortunate for them coming in during the pandemic year, but this is a team that, again, they finish first, they make a final within a few years of being in the league, so very exciting. It is possible. And it will probably obviously get tougher the more teams that enter the league.
Yeah.
As someone who obviously is well knowledgeable in the Canadian Premier League, Commissioner Mark Noonan, you work closely with him too. Where are we in talking about expansion and having more teams join?
Well, I think it's very active. I don't like to speak for Mark, but I'll just say that it's clear that the mandate is that they want to get more teams and more people who are invested in this league in this country to move forward. There's very, very strong internal goals that he's happy to share externally about wanting to expand it, wanting to get way more teams in this league and move forward. And with that, I think then becomes more purse strings to open up and be careful about, how far they go, but bringing in other talent from around the world and talk about those kind of things as well. Because I think what they've done so far within 5 years has been really important in terms of making a Canadian Premier League for Canadians. Mm-hmm. And that stretches across this country and bringing Canadians opportunities to play. But at some point, and I know John Herdman said they want to get younger. I still think that they're doing a decent job with that. But I think at some point they're also looking at, is there a way of bringing in, this international flavor of a player per team and things like that, to get some tickets sold and put on billboards and things like that. They're all small steps. Building leagues is tough. But yeah, look, it's going to happen. There's significant interest in many markets. And I'll just say that, the 8 markets that are in now, I don't think they get enough credit sometimes to say that, to show what the other markets can do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's like, we forget they're looking at the other markets going, can I be like that? Can I be better than that? And that's what these markets are providing. So, they're trendsetters and it's exciting.
More teams, more players, more
Andi.
money. All right, are we ready?
I respect you wholeheartedly. But I also fear you a little bit.
No.
And it's not because of your stature. It's just also because I know that
not because I'm 5'7" or anything.
Went from 5'5" to 5'7" in 1 week. Woo! But come on, babes. Tell me about
Yeah.
your hot seat.
Oh, so here's the thing. I did promise we're going to ease into this a little bit. Some of them might be, ooh. Some of them are like, okay, it's fine. But in no particular order, which, by the way, I'm the worst at power rankings because I never put anything in order. I am the worst. These are just, this is like
Off the top of the
stream
head.
of consciousness,
Yeah,
right?
no
Me
worries.
talking. So if I'm talking about, on the hot seat, here's the thing. Actually, let me go based on what you just said about under 21.
Yeah.
I want to see...
Oh, baby.
What is happening behind me?
Hello.
Did I just grow some devil horns? My father will say, they've
Wow.
always been there. I've just been very good at covering them up. That's what Daddy Petrillo tells me all the time. Okay, we're going to go with that.
That's amazing.
That's a nice picture, though.
Under 21, a little bit of a hot seat on teams. In the past, we have seen some teams maybe wait till the 11th hour to...
12th hour.
Yeah, the 12th hour, to respect those minutes. We've seen it a little bit on Ottawa and Forge. So to those teams, you got to show a little bit, get those under 21 players in there, get those minutes in there, get that youth in there. As much as, again, you got to field your best 11. I understand that, but there is a reason why it's a league for Canadian, by Canadians, for Canadians, and for that development, right? So let's not, please don't have us sit in studio on the panel going, this team
Are they gonna make it?
Yeah, are they going to make it? This team has yet to hit it. Are they going to be fined? I don't want to have that conversation.
Amen.
Do not do that. Thank you very much. This one's a bit of a fun one, only because our poor boy, Wheels, I'm doing this for you. He got very excited about the hydro pole for Pacific and thinking it was going to be removed for the start of the season. It's not. But I'm going to put the powers that be a little bit on the hot seat. Again, we would like that removed from a broadcasting perspective so we can get better angles, so your fans can see the game better when they're watching on TV. Please and thank you. I feel like this is my plea as well for just like...
A lot's going on. Yeah, it's okay. Keep going.
All right.
Through.
I'm also going to put Forge on the hot seat.
Okay.
Love Bobby Smirniotis, and I think in the past he got it right. As long as you get a ticket to the dance, you're fine, you're in, and it's been proven. They've won 3 of the last 4. But now, with the top team being awarded a spot in Concacaf Champions League, being awarded a trophy, it matters. And also with being first, maybe getting a favorable game in that first one and leaping right away to the final, I want to see Forge, if this is the top team we're talking about it being, if this is such a huge separation between them and everyone else, prove it. Go out and dominate this season as well. Go out and finish. I know you could say, well, the winner of the league, the winner, of the entire league, North Star Shield, also gets a berth into CONCACAF Champions League. Why not just win the regular season and get it?
Yeah.
I just want to see that. I want to see if Forge is this incredible team and dominant team that we keep talking about. I want to see it throughout the season too. Entertain me.
If you're the best team, 28 games will show it. You don't want to wait for a cup competition at the end.
Again, it's not that it hasn't worked for
Forge
Bobby.
or any team.
Yeah,
Anybody.
he's
If you're the best,
he's proven it.
that's going to show it.
But if you're the best, entertain your fans, entertain people all season long.
Quick 20 seconds of your guys' life. Forge, for sure, turns it up when they need to. For sure. Right towards the end of the season. So I agree with you, Trills. If you
Yeah.
can get it done for the 28 games,
The
Get it
format,
done.
the format helps this year, though.
yeah,
That's why
it
helps.
does.
Okay. Poor Easton Ongaro. He's going to be on my hot seat right out of the gate, and you're probably like, what are you doing with this poor child?
Put him on there.
I'm going to put him on there because this is a guy who's proven he can score. His last year in Canadian Premier League with the Eddies, he scored 12 goals. And now he has a little bit more experience. He's played in Denmark. He's played in Romania. He's played with the Whitecaps, the MLS Pro. So now he's coming back, and he's also playing for a team. You just kept talking about it. Diaz, gone. Bustos, gone.
He has to be the man.
By default, he has pressure on him. He's in the hot seat to right away start scoring. And if he's not, again, it's not his fault. If he needs a little bit of time to get some rhythm, people are going to come down on him. It's inevitable. And you might be saying, who are the people? It's you, the media. Yup. I know. I'm sorry. We do. We're horrible.
Your hot seat is so hot, and I love it.
But that's the case. Poor Easton, but right out of the gate, the guy's on the hot seat. And then very quickly, and you know I love him so much. I have to preface this just like you do so you don't offend your friends. I love him so much. But Tommy Wheeldon Jr., Cavalry, they are perennial contenders. But the players themselves, I know, and even Tommy himself, they look into that trophy case. Ain't got no trophies. He knows he needs trophies.
Yeah.
He knows he needs trophies. So there you go, my boy Tommy.
What a hot take.
That's good.
No, but honestly, you hit the nail on the head. And Calgary, I hate playing there, or I hated playing there. But yeah, they need some silverware. They need some hardware for sure.
I know. There you go. How was your first experience here on
I
OneNation?
love this. Thanks for the invite. Can I come back?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Once you get your sing-songs ready as well, 'cause we love, I
No
don't know
one
what
wants to hear
happens.
that.
Sound
Every time we
effects.
sing.
Don't you
Every
have like
time.
a good little pub tune or something?
Not really. No one really wants
And
to
I
hear
love to cheers my beer. I don't know.
it. Maybe I'll wait for Jordan's wedding. I'll pop it up.
Oh, come on, baby. What a time.
Kristian Jack, our senior soccer analyst and Canadian Premier League expert, joining us here on One Nation alongside Trills and Wills, bringing you everything you need to know. Hopefully, we'll continue, obviously, to talk about the Canadian Premier League because it's right around the corner. April 15th, it kicks off right here on One Soccer with a triple header. It's going to be a long day. Bring the pizza, bring the coffee, you drink tea. That's really weird. I'll bring the espresso.